Today I'm going to interview Paul Huntley to discuss the ways in which he embodies the University of Iowa as a graduate fraternity man and a season ticket holder for the Iowa Hawkeye football games. My podcast will explain why tailgating has been misrepresented as a party compared to its traditional goal to celebrate a sporting event. So, Mr. Huntley, let's go back to the beginning. You attended University of Iowa and joined a fraternity, correct?
That is correct.
As a college student, what did being in a fraternity at the University of Iowa do for you?
Well, it did a lot for me. It gave me a lot of direction when I got to the University of Iowa. A lot of kids don't have a lot of friends, companions, those type of things. So it gets you into a group of people working for a common goal, whether it's grades, philanthropies. There's a lot of things that you get involved with right away.
You have two daughters at the University of Iowa, so you've probably heard of the recent suspensions, and so with fraternities and the different rules that FSL and Greek life as a whole has been put under. And so including these suspensions has been fraternity tailgates, and you've been to a lot of the home games this season and past seasons as well. And so even if one of your fraternities wasn't the one that's been suspended, how did this make you feel towards the Greek system at Iowa?
The Greek system has changed quite a bit over the last 5, even 10, 30 years. It's evolved into, I don't know all the rules that are in place right now for fraternities, but things have changed. And I think you can point to a lot of different things. I think it's just the kids getting on campus today will view things differently than when I was there. If you're talking about alcohol, and I think that's the main reason fraternities and sororities get suspended. I get what's going on. I don't think I understand what the university is trying to do. Trying to limit the alcohol consumption and penalize fraternities for participating in things outside their parameters.
And do you feel that these parameters and safety measures are, you touched on it briefly, but do you think they're put in place, after the deaths at Penn State and Florida State and these various colleges around the country? It's becoming more and more common for not just, a simple ticket to be given. There's health measures. There's kids who are flunking out of college. Do you think that these measures are appropriate for what's happening? Do you think banning a tailgate is really going to fix this problem? Do you think they're in line with what the goal is?
Absolutely not. I think, going back to what I said earlier, I think it's a reactive item. The fraternities do a certain, let's say they have a party. The university is reacting to that. It has to go deeper. It has to go to education. The drugs that are out there, they're available. Why are they available? So the university can do all it wants. I mean, it can restrict fraternity. It can restrict sororities. It's restricted adults from tailgating. The rules have changed for adults in a given day at a Hawkeye game. So it's not only sororities and fraternities. The entire atmosphere has changed at the University of Iowa, and I understand, but it's really reactive. It's reacting to a problem, and so they're punishing kids after the fact, or saying these are your restrictions. Don't go outside of these lines. Kids will always go outside those lines, and until you understand that, I know the University of Iowa and the regents and the people that are in charge are very educated people, but it goes farther. It needs to go deeper. It needs to go back to the high school. It needs to go back to grade school, education on drugs, alcohol. When I was there, yes, the drug scene was there. It always has been from the 60s and 70s. But it's more prevalent today. The drugs that are available to students and the mixing of the drugs, the mixing of alcohol. There is no education out there. I know high schools are trying to do it, but it's really ridiculous. And the University of Iowa is trying. I get it, but it's not going to stop the behavior of 18 to 22-year-olds on game day or on a Wednesday or a Thursday. It doesn't matter.
Do you think that it has, end of the day, it has impacted tailgating? Do you think that it has changed the atmosphere and it's changed this tradition where it's becoming to view this thing that's scrutinized as it's a party, it's underage kids drinking, there's rules? Do you think that it's become that and gone away from its tradition of we're all here to celebrate this team, as graduates, as students, as future students? I went to games when I was 2 years old. Has it gone away from that, or is it a different perspective?
No, it's there's always been partying on game day from when I was there until today. Like I said, the university has made changes, but let's go back to the facts of we're concentrating this interview on fraternities and sororities. I'll throw in, the adults, the grown adults drink more. They drink heavily, and it is a problem, I believe. So I think you can look at it from year to year to year, decade to decade. I think there's a lot of similarities from one decade. I remember people going crazy in 1985 when Iowa beat Michigan, number 1 and number 2, and it was crazy then. It's crazy now, and so I think the university's done some good things. They've made some rules and restrictions. Back when I was in college, you could take alcohol into the stadium, you could smoke in there. Those things have been eliminated. But I think sometimes when you put more restrictions on people, and by all means, there should not be any smoking or alcohol inside the stadium. That would just be major problems. And I know some college venues sell beer and cocktails in their venues. I'm not a fan of that. But you can look at it reverse psychology. Once you restrict people, they'll find other means to do it. So I think this all ties in. Like when you're going to restrict a fraternity or restrict a sorority from doing something, they'll find a way to do it. There has to be, I think, different, whether it's education or different emphasis on game day with the sororities and the fraternities and even the adults. And I know university has made a lot of changes with open container and hard alcohol and those type of things, and I think those are all good. But I think it needs to go back to people to use common sense. Let's not try to ruin the day. People do like to have a beer or a cocktail during the football games or before the football games. And keep in mind the legal age is 21, and so you can't discount the fact that there's a law on the age of drinking as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today, and we hope to see Iowa at a bowl game, and we hope that tailgating continues and to be a great tradition that everyone of all ages and all positions, if you're a tailgater, if you're a graduate, if you're in college, or if your parents are pining for you to go to Iowa in 10 years, we're hoping that everyone can still enjoy the tradition and cheer on the Hawkeyes on Saturdays. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks.